Hello, 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 everyone. Good afternoon from a very sunny UK. We don't often say that, do we? And it looks very sunny and bright where you are, Dr. Staci. How are you doing?
It is very sunny here, Catherine. I am doing fantastic.
Oh, that's so lovely to hear. Well, I am really, really looking forward to today because every time I have Dr. Staci on, I learn so much. And I have relaunched my Wellness Wednesday series. So we started last week with a live with Dr. Timo Tastahar and Lauren Shuttler, where we learned a lot about mushrooms, about how we can supplement diet with mushrooms. So for anyone who hasn't seen that show, please do go to the live tab on my YouTube, because when you go live to YouTube, YouTube doesn't show the videos in the stream. It basically, you have to tick on the live tab. So anyone that's rewatching this, you're going to have to go to the live tab to actually find this video. But the Wellness Wednesday, I really wanted to restart it because at the moment, so many of us are searching for solutions to many obstacles that are being thrown at us. And what I love, Staci, is I love the fact that there are so many solutions out there. It can sometimes be difficult to get the message out to people. So this is what these Wellness Wednesdays, and Dr. Staci and I are going to share some really interesting information and then open it up a little bit later to the questions. So don't be shy at putting your questions in the comments. If I don't come to them straight away, do not worry. I'm not ignoring you. We will get to them. We just want to just cover a bit of information first. So Dr. Staci has been on my channel several times before. And if you look on my playlist of Lifewave videos, you will see some really great information that we've shared before. But Dr. Staci is an expert in regenerative medicine, healing the mind and body. And never have we needed your skills more, Dr. Staci. So can we start off by just telling the listeners what is regenerative medicine?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Catherine. So, regenerative medicine looks at how to repair and regenerate the damage that has been done in the body, actually getting to the root cause. You're very familiar with your typical medical system, and there's definitely a need for that at times. But more than not, they want to prescribe you a medication or recommend something over the counter to mask a symptom. And regenerative medicine says, let's get to the root of the problem. You weren't born with this. This isn't something you had when you were younger. It's developed over time due to, more than likely, lifestyle choices, um, diet, health conditions, things like that, that have developed over time. And maybe there were accidents, maybe there were injuries, surgeries, things like that that took place that spiraled you out of control in the wrong direction. So this looks at regenerating, bringing back the body into homeostasis.
I absolutely love it. I love the fact that we're understanding so much now about how our beautiful bodies work. And of course, we're talking about our animals, hence the fact that Dr. Staci's or my dogs will be joining in, and we encourage that. Good, good, good. We encourage dogs at all times. But I love the fact that, we're so many of us now are really grasping the understanding that actually our bodies are self-healing machines. However, when things push us out of balance, sometimes we have to give them a helping hand along the way. So today we really wanted to talk about stem cells, because stem cells are a fascinating area. They've been around. A lot of people have heard about stem cell technology, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But let's start with the basics, Dr. Staci. What are stem cells? And they're different types, aren't there? Sort of adult and embryonic.
Right. And so stem cells are in your body when you're born. You're born with liver cells and heart cells and kidney cells, and that's all they can be. But you're also born with an abundance of stem cells, and they're what we call pluripotent, which means they can turn into any type of cell, tissue, or organ that's needed in the body. Like you mentioned, Catherine, the body knows how to heal itself. And so it does that partly because of the stem cells. So if you are young and you have an injury, you fall off your bike, or you sprain your ankle, your stem cells go to work to help you repair that area as part of that process. And as we age, we have less and less stem cells that are active. They're there, but they're tired. They're worn out. Thousands of years ago, even hundreds of years ago, we were only living to our mid 30s. And that's obviously modern medicine has helped out in that department some, right, to help improve our quality of life and extend our life. But our stem cells, the way our body was created thousands of years ago, wasn't designed to live much longer than that. And so those half of those stem cells are dormant. And that's when we really start to see the aging process. And as we age, of course, then you have all of your stem cells that become dormant. And when we look at embryonic cells, and you can get into a lot of controversy with this. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but when you look into actually in a petri dish and cloning them, that's why we have in the United States not legalized, embryonic cells for use because of knowing where they are from, or even in other countries in South America, Central America, where they use aborted fetal cells. And that can, again, be very controversial. And, you do have potential side effects and risks of improper cell division. But as we age, our cells become tired. They're wore out and they're dormant. And so if you were to extract your own blood when you were a child or a younger adult and spin that blood, that's what we do with it. We spin it, centrifuge, and then put it back into the body, say, for example, in a knee or a shoulder, an area that needs repaired. If you were younger, you would have more fresh, viable, active stem cells to pull from. When you're older, those cells are more tired and worn out. So they're not going to be as effective, which is why you see the older population going towards a donor stem cell source, such as umbilical cord donors, a lot of cord blood banking facilities, which I banked both of my kids' cord blood. Actually, people, once their child ages out or not needed anymore, they donate that. A lot of them just donate it just for being able to help other people. And so you can use those donor cells. So younger cells, when you're first born, those cells are very viable. They can help in your body in any way. As you age, they just don't have that potency anymore. So they're not as effective in repairing the body.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I think we're all seeing so many of the stresses that are put on people as well that can speed up that aging process. Just before we move on, I like this question from Harry. Thanks for that, Harry. Aubrey de Grey thinks we could live forever by cultivating our own stem cells. There's a lot of talk about this, isn't there? About how long we could really use. And also, I suppose when you look at how the stem cells work, it is like a self-regenerating machine.
Absolutely. And so possibly we know from studying nature that we could definitely live longer and be stronger and more vital and vibrant than we are in our old age. We can look at lobsters and we can see, why is a lobster born strong and healthy and vital, but yet at 130 years old, it's in better condition and shape than it was when it was born? Why is that? And so we can look at nature. We can look at sea urchins and crustaceans and different types of, even the queen bee and the queen ant. What's the difference? What is it about them that's making them, live so much longer, 40 times even longer? And stem cells are responsible for that. So if we have a way to cultivate our own or to reset our own back to their young, youthful, healthy state, then we could potentially have a better quality of life and also live longer, which is obviously what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah. And that, I think, is what everyone's really looking for, is they want to live longer as long as they're vibrant and healthy. No one wants to live a long time in a suffering state. But if we can actually sort of keep our bodies as young and vibrant and healthy as possible, and of course our minds, because we'll come on to that as well, absolutely vital when it comes to the stem cells, then who isn't going to want that? So in terms of, there's lots of studies that have been done in terms of diseases that have been helped by stem cells. But as you've touched on, there's some controversy regarding traditional treatments, but a lot of these sort of existing treatments for stem cells are extortionately expensive and outside the reach of sort of normal people, I would say. Is that correct, Staci?
Yes, definitely. So your traditional types of stem cell therapy, even hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy, you're talking upwards of $30,000-$40,000 here in the States to try to get your bone marrow to produce more of its own stem cells. When you look at injections, they're easily $10,000 here. Leaving the country, you're more 25 to 30, even up to $50,000 per injection with no guarantee. And I say injection because it's invasive. You're entering the body, you're injecting a donor cell into the body that you are hoping does not have any improper cell division. And so, there is a lot of controversy around that and potential side effects and risks. If cells don't divide correctly, then you could look at a cancerous type situation inside of the body, which is what a lot of people look at when they are pondering whether or not that's the right way for them to go.
Yeah. Absolutely. Harry's thanks, Harry. You always ask really good questions. We appreciate you. Looking at, should people be obviously it's too late for those of us who were born a long while ago. We haven't still got them. But people that are having babies now, should they be looking to store their umbilical cords from their children? How does that work?
So I banked both of my kids' cord blood over 20 years ago. Wow. I was watching a program on the Learning Channel one day, and I came across a documentary on using donor cord blood to cure African-American children of sickle cell anemia. And I thought that is impressive, considering I don't watch TV. And that happened to be on. I thought that was definitely a divine appointment there. And I received a packet in the mail later that week wanting me to learn more about cord blood banking. And that was back before display marketing and things like that existed as well. So again, I'm taking this as a download from the divine that I need to look into this. And so cord blood, I absolutely think it's a fantastic idea. It is created obviously in the body by the mother, the baby, that connection, that viable source of stem cells that's in there. And we even have further research now. It's not available yet, looking at the entire placenta and being able to bank that. That is right. We're on the cusp of that as well too. Just because it's even more, the cord blood does have a smaller amount. With my daughter, I looked at actually giving her back her cord blood when she was 5. She had a brain bleed at age 4 and a lot of complications when she was little. And they, informed me that it was not going to be enough cord blood, enough stem cells to help her in what had happened to her with the brain bleed, and to look into stem cell injections, to actually doing donor cells to get a larger amount, which is what we did. But I think that it's a fantastic idea to bank your cord blood. You would need to I used ViaCord, not plugging them at all, but that's where both of my kids' cord blood was stored. My son's he just turned 18, so we donated it as well too to science, right, to the cryo facility in Cincinnati, Ohio, where it's been since he was born. But I think it's a fantastic idea, and I think we'll see more and more ethical practices in that. And I think that's where you have to really be careful. Storing cord blood, there's nothing against, ethics in that. It's yours, it's your child's, it's in the facility, it's a reputable place. I think that's fantastic. Just making sure that, if you're looking into any type of stem cell therapy, that you look into that, and again, knowing that there's a price. I mean, it was $2,500 to bank each kid's cord blood over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the cost is today. And then there's a yearly fee as well too. So
yeah, absolutely. So it's like a lot of these things, the knowledge about how amazing stem cells are, what they can do for us, how they can really help in all sorts of regeneration, restoring back to health for many, many conditions. They're used extensively in veterinary medicine as well. But how did you come across, and we've got a question from Gen 21, are we going to be talking about the Lifewave X39? Yes, we are, because this is what we are sort of really interested in, is what I'm really passionate about, is how can we use the modern science and these understandings that we've got about how we can help our bodies heal, stay younger, prevent issues happening but in a safe and ethical way. So talk us
Mhm.
through, how did you come across the Lifewave, and can you just explain to people how these work?
Absolutely. So I came across this 2 years ago. I was doing some breathwork meditation for a man that owned a wellness center. And on the way out of his facility, he was, of course, sharing with me all the things he did there. And he showed me this packet of the X39 stem cell activation patch. And I said, stem cells? I need to know what that is immediately. I have spent almost 15 years doing stem cell therapy with my daughter. Anything I could get my hands on that was ethical, of course. And so he showed me his Whoop, which is kind of like a Fitbit, or an iPhone watch that monitors. And he showed me his recovery and his anxiety level and his sleep and all these different metrics. And I'm like, that is fantastic. I love that. How do I get my hands on it? And so I walked out the door with this that very day, and I started my research. And at the same time, again, this is where God comes into your life. The very next day, a friend of mine called me and said, hey, I found something that will help your daughter. And I said, fantastic, send me the link, I'll order it. And she said, no, we need to get on the phone. I need to talk to you about this. This is the latest thing in stem cell technology. It's just been on the market about a year now. And I said, oh, what is it? And she sent me the link, and it was this.
That's unbelievable.
And I said, there again is divine, right? I have spent over 20 years in this industry with stem cell technology and therapies and whatnot. And so I, of course, dove straight into the research, reading, what is this? How does this work? And that's what I'm going to explain with you guys today, is how simple this is for me, knowing everything I know about stem cells. And I don't want to say I'm a complete expert in it, but 20 years is a long time to do a lot of different stem cell therapy and research. And actually utilize it with my child over that time frame. And so this is actually a non-transdermal patch that is a wearable light technology. Yes, you have yours on.
I've got my energy enhancers on here. We'll get those in a minute.
Yeah. So this is a patch that puts nothing into your body, but it is, like I said, a wearable light technology. And so it works with our body's own light. So when you apply this patch to your skin, your heat or light that you emit reflects back a very specific wavelength of light from the lattice structure that's embedded in that patch. And so nothing's entering your body, which makes this so amazing, non-invasive. Nothing at all is entering in, and it's actually signaling a peptide in your body, activating a peptide, GHK copper peptide, and that peptide is responsible for resetting a third of your genes. I don't know about you guys, but something in my body that already is there to activate that, to reset my genes back to their young, youthful, healthy state. And one of those genes is responsible for mobilizing stem cells. Mobilizing them, getting them working again, activating them, elevating them, and resetting them back to their young, youthful, healthy state.
I absolutely love that. And, I've been working with light therapy. Funny enough, most of my stem cell research has been in the veterinary side of things, because obviously our poor animals are facing so many problems at the moment as well. But when we're looking at the photomodulation and the light therapy and working over acupoints, that's something I've been studying for a long while. So when our mutual friend Amala sort of introduced us together, I was just so blown away, because this is like all the bits of the jigsaw puzzle putting together. So we've got before we move on, a couple of good questions coming through. Jen has ordered some 2 days ago, a month to try. Fantastic. So any questions you've got about that, you can ask us whilst we're on here, Jen. But Harry, I love this, because he's asking about the electric and sound frequencies in combination with stem cells. Have we got any comments on that?
Yes, I absolutely think all different types of holistic modalities, therapies, treatments, sound free, absolutely, right? Anything you can do with the body to help bring the body into balance, assist the body, is amazing. And this works perfectly with all of those different holistic modalities, which is why it's in my toolbox. 20 years in holistic health, I have a lot of things in my toolbox, including electric and different types of sound frequency therapy, sound bowls, and, crystals and different things like that I can see, of course, in your house as well, too,
Yes.
Catherine. And so we have a lot of tools. This is a tool in my toolbox, something that I use every single day. And I'll be honest with you, over the 20 years, I have utilized a lot, and I've tried a lot of different things, and I still have a lot of things in my toolbox that I can pull from if I need an essential oil, or if I need, a crystal for something, right? We use those things when we need them.
Essential oils and my
Exactly.
homeopathy. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is something that is so simple to incorporate in your daily life. You brush your teeth in the morning, you put your patch on in the morning when you get up, when you're brushing your teeth. You leave it on 12 hours. You take it off when you brush your teeth before you go to bed. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's really that simple and effective. And it works very well when you look at acupuncture. We do place the patch on acupuncture points because of the specific meridians. We have clinical studies, actually over 90 clinical studies, showing how this patch impacts the different organs and cells and tissues in your body and the different systems in the body. And that's why we choose to put them on acupuncture points.
And it's fantastic. So I just wanted to share a bit. I've got a couple of questions. Harry, if your bioluminescence is a question, could you just clarify the question? And Cat for Health, if you clarify the question, I'll ask yours next, please. But yeah, so I have been experimenting with the stem cell, with the Lifewave patches with my animals. And I posted a few things on my Instagram, on my shorts, because I have been absolutely blown away with the results. So what I love about working with animals is everything, but in particular, then you just get really honest feedback. So if I research something, I become a real believer. I don't use anything until I've really researched it really well. But when I use them with my animals, my ponies haven't been reading up about what the Lifewave patches do. So they're just going when it works. And one of my ponies had tweaked himself in the field. He goes mad in the field. And anyway, to cut a long story short, look on my YouTube shorts and look on my Instagram. I put the patch on him and the response was amazing. But what I was so blown away with, Dr. Staci, is it was virtually instantaneous. So he was struggling, not badly, but he was a bit stiff picking up one of his back legs to pick out the foot hoof. And so I put the Lifewave patch on one of the acupoints that I work with the red light. And immediately, and then this wasn't the pain relief patch, this was the X39. Immediately he picked up his legs better. One of my dogs has tweaked herself as well. So I have been using homeopathy and red light therapy and obviously the Asea. So fantastic. I'll come on to that question in a minute, Cat for Health. And again, I put the patch on. I put, again, the X39. And then the next day I put the Eons with the horses and Lola, my dog. They twinged yourself. I was alternating those responses. Absolutely amazing. So I'm just really blown away. And coming on to Cat for Health, does the Asea make the X39 work better? So I'll go first and then I'll ask Dr. Staci as well, because I know you know about the Asea as well. Dr. Staci and I and most holistic practitioners have a lot of tools in our toolkit, and we're always looking for different things because different bodies, different people, different animals respond to different things. And obviously when the humans are involved, you've got their belief systems that come into it as well. So having different tools. Personally, for me, I think the Asea and the Lifewave patches, particularly the X39, are just the most phenomenal combination. And in my family and with a lot of my clients, we use them combined because when you understand the mode of action of both of them, they complement each other beautifully. So that's a really good question, Cat for Health. Have you got anything you'd like to add to that, Dr. Staci?
When I talked to David a few weeks ago, David Schmidt's the inventor of the patches. We were talking about doing some clinical studies with a cardiologist in my team. And we were talking about supplements and using other types of nutritional things like the Asea, or, let's say, vitamin C or vitamin D, something like that, right? Vitamins, absolutely. And we were talking about the effectiveness of those and what happens with the X39, using that at the same time that you're using something else. And he said what he's seen in the clinical studies is an increase of the effectiveness of that product or that vitamin, that nutrient that's being using, that it actually accentuates its effectiveness. And so do they work well together? Absolutely, they do. They do. They do combine forces, just like your vitamins would. If you're asking about your vitamins, they're going to combine forces and say, let's do this together and let's really get in at the cellular level with this body to be able to help get it into balance faster.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. So I will say with my belief system is very much that we can heal anything within ourselves through our mind alone.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will hold my hand up and say I am not at that level of competency yet. So do I believe it's possible? Absolutely, yes. Have I personally achieved that level of competence in terms of mind over matter? No, I haven't. So the reason why I and Dr. Staci use a lot of these tools in our toolkit is because, you know, I need to make life easier for myself and my clients because, you know, some people have that ability, and you can see for anyone who attends Dr. Joe Dispenza's events, there's certain people that have the most miraculous healing experiences just using the power of their meditative practices. And I 100% believe in that. But I'm not at that level yet, even though I'm working towards it. So I use these to accentuate and help in all other areas. And another case study that we've been doing, as you know, Dr. Staci's been helping with my daughter who's had major knee surgery, and she's a football player, or soccer as you'd call it in America. And she's had two bad injuries, one on each knee. So we've had a really good comparison to see. And with the Asea, which we were using first before I started using the Lifewaves, we were having amazing results. When she introduced the Lifewave patches as well, it went up to the next level. And you were helping me really effectively thinking which patches to use and where to use them to help get rid of some of the swelling. So these things complement each other beautifully. And it's great to have these tools available to you because each of us are in a different situation. And some people want to put more tools on the job to get quicker results. Because some people need quick results. You know, if you've got something serious going on with you, you can't necessarily wait. And other people are happy to do it all themselves. So it's just really giving people choice, do you think, Dr. Staci?
I agree with that completely. I do. I am not there yet either. I love Dr. Joe. I've attended a lot of his events and been using his practices for the last 20 years. And I would say I've seen miraculous things happen in my life. I would say absolutely I have. But I have never had anything that I've had to personally heal myself of either. So I can't say that specifically. But I can say that I know there are practices doing these things on a daily basis. Of course, sleep, meditation, breath work, prayer, healthy food, right? Water, those types of exercise, movement, mindfulness, those things are all part of a healthy lifestyle. And having these tools in our toolbox help us to assist us in that and give us choices outside of modern medicine.
Yes.
That's the big thing for me is if somebody has something come up, whether it's a little flu bug or if there's an accident, you know, my son splits his lip wide open or sprains his ankle, right? My husband hurts himself on the golf course, whatever. We're not going to the medicine cabinet or just the, you know, drugstore, the doctor. We're going to the toolbox.
Yeah.
That's what we're using to help our body in an acute situation, but it's also what we're using on a daily basis to keep ourselves healthy and prevent things from happening. And of course, in our practice, we use this for helping people to get their body back into homeostasis as a pretty powerful modality to be able to do that in a very non-invasive way.
I love that. I love that. So Brady, thank you very much for sharing your journey. So Brady was diagnosed 10 years ago, minor symptoms now with MS. Now, obviously, we never, due to laws and regulations, we don't mention certain diseases, and everyone knows that situation. However, in that sort of situation, these would be a perfect tool, wouldn't they, Dr. Staci, to help the body rebalance?
Absolutely. You would definitely look at what would benefit the brain. And I know you mentioned the brain earlier, and we do have over 90 clinical studies, and you can see them all on startx39now.com.
Links below for that.
Yes, you can see them all. The X39, we have a fantastic brain study. It's actually 54 pages because you can see the scans of people before, during, and after the clinical studies using this. There are a couple other patches that are very beneficial for the brain as well, too. When you look at anything with the brain, Eon helps reduce inflammation, and carnosine balances the brain, improves cognition, communication, and keeps the right brain, left brain hemisphere in balance. So it helps with your executive functions in your life. So those three would definitely be amazing for anything to do neurological. But if you just want to use the X39, you absolutely can see benefits and results from that. And this is something I know somebody else said they just purchased. The patch works over time. Remember, we opened up talking about regenerative medicine. That is not give me a pill to fix a number. That is, we are going to regenerate, repair, rejuvenate, restore functionality of the body, get to the root of the problem. And so that will happen over time. And typically we would say, based on your age, 1 month for every 10 years you are old. So Brady, if you're in your 30s, you would want to use this 3 months. If you have something a little bit more serious going on with you neurologically, then you would look a little bit longer than that, right? I would look until you have maybe absolutely no symptoms whatsoever, which may take a little longer for you. You'll get to your full stem cell regeneration at that time frame. So if you're in your 60s, 6 months, 77 months, and beyond that is where we really see the repair, the deeper repair and regeneration and happening once all of your stem cells are functioning in the body to do what they used to do when you were younger before that condition arose.
Yeah, and all the different patches come with a little leaflet that give you indications, show you the different options of where you can put them. But I will draw people's attention to the fact the links below the video and also on my CatherineEdwards.live website, if you go to the products page, you'll find the links, because Dr. Staci and I have done a video which is linked there, which will really show you the most cost-effective way to order. Because like everything, we want everyone to be able to get things in the most cost-effective way. So all those links are there. And if you have any trouble or need any more help, you will know how to reach out to me. Please do. Harry's asking a question about adding Evo C60. Could this enhance the healing even more?
I think extra virgin olive oil, if that's what you're talking about, I do believe it is correct. Is that what Evo C60 is?
I'm not quite sure. If you could clarify that in the chat, please, Harry.
Usually we use EVO for extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's the case, absolutely. I think extra virgin olive oil is fantastic. I utilize it every day in my cooking.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Now, again, not mentioning specific, but Pearl Magnolia has got a question here with a particular challenge she's got. Again, would she start with the X39, Dr. Staci?
Absolutely. And I would also use the Eon that reduces inflammation. The lady that I said called me and told me about this, her name's April. That's exactly what she had dealt with. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
She was actually in a wheelchair at the time that she was introduced to this technology, and was able to get out of that chair 7 days later.
And I am absolutely going to back this up. So one of my horses is 32, 33 years old. And again, he's doing really, really well. He's fantastic. But when I put the patch on, my daughter's got a little video. I must get it up there. It's absolutely beautiful. She puts the patch on and then he goes bucking and cantering across the field like a little spring chicken. It's just so beautiful to see. So, you know, and again, Dr. Staci, I was so blown away by how quickly, we all know animals are so fantastic at feeling the energy shifts. You know, that's why they respond so well to these natural remedies, because they're so in tune with nature. They're so in tune with their own bodies. So when you work with animals, you get such great feedback about exactly what's working and what isn't. And
Absolutely.
I was straight on the message to you because I was literally blown away. And bear in mind, I do have a lot of tools in my toolkit, so it's great that you can keep adding to it. We're never done
Right?
with it. I'm on a
Exactly.
continual journey of learning, which I know you are.
Yes.
So if people were asking about, one of the things I think people find quite hard to understand is a couple of things. One, how can put a patch on your skin? I know we've covered that it's working with your own sort of body's heat and light, but one, why do we have to keep it on for 12 hours? And some can be used at day, some can be used at night. And secondly, how does that really sort of activate our body's healing mechanisms?
So, again, based on clinical studies, this is what David and all of the other doctors that have done the studies have found to be the most effective. Our body is about 98.6. And
Yeah.
so that heat or light that's communicating with this patch, a 12-hour period is the most effective to have that signal happening in the body. So it's reflecting back that wavelength of light, elevating a specific peptide, depending on which patch it is. Elevating that peptide for that 12-hour period has what's proven to be the most effective in impacting the organs or systems in the body. Taking it off and giving the body a 12-hour break to repair and regenerate. So you activate, you elevate, you stimulate that pathway, that peptide, you elevate that, right? And then you give it a break. It's much like a light in the room. If you left that on all the time, then it would wear out and the body would be, no, I'm not going to do this, right? I'm tired of this signal. And so it's not a transdermal patch where you're putting something in the body and you want to leave it on continuously to deliver that substance or medicine or nutrient. That's not how this is working. So it's working, it's cell to cell communication, right? This is a biophotonic exchange of information. Our bodies like communicating with the crystal lattice structure that's embedded in this patch. And again, David has 20 years of studies and research showing this is what we have found to be the most effective to help the body to improve its quality of life, to get back into homeostasis.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So really good question here by Lucy Lou that I'll answer and then Dr. Staci can add to. So interestingly, Lucy, I didn't need to shave the hair on my horse. And you'll see on my YouTube shorts and my Instagram where I put it on a particular point called back way. There's loads of places you could put it. I just went with my knowledge of what was going on with my horse. But to be honest, there's nowhere you can put it that's going to do any harm. Anywhere's going to put good. And then the more you know, the more fun it gets trying out, seeing how your body and their body respond, putting it in different places. Now, with my horse, I used one of the X39 patches and it stuck because it wasn't one that I'd used first. It was a fresh new one. I just placed it on the fur and it stayed and it did not budge at all. Even when he rolled in the field, it was fantastic. However, what I do is when I take certain of my patches off, I use different ones. So today I've been to the gym, hence me looking a little bit. So I've got my energy enhancer patches, which I would like to talk about in a minute because they're phenomenal. So Lucy, I didn't shave it off, but what I do find is if I'm using one of the patches that I've had on and then say I'm putting on my dogs, it doesn't stick so well. So then I just use an extra little bit of tape just to put it on. So I find that the stickiness of a fresh patch going on the animals is absolutely fine. Whereas with my if you're reusing a patch that you've used, you might need a little bit of extra adhesive for that.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So really experiment. And what we did say is, you know, if you've been using, say, the X39 or the Eon or one of the others for yourself, you wouldn't want to put the energy enhancer on your pets at night because they're designed for daytime use, not at night. But don't hesitate to use them on your pets afterwards. And then if you can afford to use them, to use a fresh one for them, so obviously you're going to get quicker, more powerful results. Yes, Harry, healing is voltage, bioelectric body. Don't like interference by toxins. So that's a good point. Do you have any information or do any of the studies cover detoxing the body at all?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a patch called glutathione. Glutathione is the master antioxidant, master detoxer, and immune booster. And that patch actually elevates a peptide in your liver that increases your own glutathione level by over 300%. You wear that patch 12 hours, then you take it off and throw it away, but it actually keeps your own glutathione level elevated by 300% for that 24-hour period. And so when you look at glutathione, it neutralizes toxins. And so it's going to help to eliminate those out of your body. And of course, boosting your immune system, antioxidants, and those are of course important for getting rid of free radicals, and glutathione's the biggest one. We also do have a patch called carnosine, and carnosine is another antioxidant, second to glutathione. And again, this patch elevates your own carnosine level. Again, carnosine being an antioxidant helps to get rid of free radicals in the body. It does a lot, of course, outside of that, but definitely those two do help your body to elevate their own antioxidant level, which you have that declines as you age, instead of putting an exogenous source into the body.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, all my listeners understand that we're quite limited on this platform, what we can talk about. But I would say it's one of the most common questions that I get for challenges that people are facing at the moment, where they want for themselves or loved ones to understand how they can detox their bodies from unknown toxins that we might have been exposed to by certain things around. And in fact, there's a lot of research showing certain weird and wonderful things happening with people's blood, even when they haven't directly been exposed to this. So something I'm working with a lot of people like Dr. Staci, naturopaths, holistic health practitioners, to really who are doing live blood analysis and doing these tests and things like that, to actually realize what does work. And these patches would be an absolute must in my kit for that, I must say. Jenny's got a good question here, Dr. Staci. How do you know which patch is best for your body?
So we know that we always start with X39 because we do know that your stem cells are not all active. And so we want to activate those stem cells. Stem cells go to work to repair and regenerate whatever's needed in the body, whether you're aware of it or not. A lot of times people tell me, I need my knee repaired. I have issues. I want to avoid surgery. And the body says, I'm going to the liver first. We need to address the spleen or the kidneys or your brain, your heart. And so you can't direct your own stem cells, but we do know that elevating your stem cells and continuing to use this over time, you will address everything that's going on in your body and help to repair and regenerate all things and reverse the functionality of the cells and organs and tissues. The other thing that we always look at is the patch called Eon. Eon reduces inflammation. We know that inflammation is the root cause of disease in the physical body. And so when you look at bringing down the inflammatory markers in the body, that's very important for overall general health and wellness and well-being. And so we always like to start with these two patches. If you have another goal in mind or something else you would like to accomplish or something else you would like your body, help with, then we can make suggestions or recommendations from there. But it's really a personal choice with what patches you want to use. But we do recommend you always start with X39 and of course add Eon right away. Inflammation comes from a lot of things: stress, food, lifestyle choices, surgeries, injuries or accidents, car accidents. You would be surprised at how that inflammatory process does what it needs to do at the time, but lingers around and causes chronic issues inside of the body.
Yeah, absolutely. So great question. Thank you very much. And Angie's put the link in the chat, because on my website, we've put a lot of information that really helps you answer a lot of these questions. But of course, do reach out to me if you need to. So we've got a question here from Gin Fritz. I'll let you read that yourself because it's quite a long one, Dr.
Yeah,
Staci.
about the MTHFR. So obviously there are different variants of that mutation. And so when we look at the X39, obviously this is our starting point. We know this resets a third of the genes. Now, I'm not going to make a claim that it's resetting MTHFR, But when you know that genes express to other genes, every gene expresses to one or two other genes. That's why we talk about using this over time, because of that compound effect. Immediately, over 4,200 genes are reset to their perfect in utero, everything amazing state. That expression over time resets almost all of your genes, correct? And so we want to start there. We also want to look at, when you look at MTHFR, the inflammation in the cells. We know the cell-to-cell communication is not happening correctly. We know that inflammation gets stuck in those cells. And so then when you look at glutathione, keeping the glutathione, then yes, this patch would definitely help, the glutathione patch, to be able to elevate your own glutathione level, because that is an issue with detoxing. And again, it depends on what variant, and I don't know the numbers A1298C off the top of my head. I have charts that I look at, of course, to see that complexity of that, right? But using the glutathione patch with the X39 and Eon would be fantastic. And we have seen countless numbers of people that have that gene mutation. Most people, unfortunately, do. And making sure you're staying away from the things, the folic acid and stuff like that, that you're just not methylating, right? So stay away from those types of things. You would already know that, of course, if you have this mutation.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And this is what I love, is we're not looking to introduce something that's foreign to the body. We're looking to reset our bodies to start working more efficiently to do what they're designed to do. And yes, of course, Harry, glutathione is one of the keys, but we're talking about specific questions here, and obviously we'll answer any specific questions you've got on that. But what we're looking at with these patches, and with the way that they're working to reset the body, there's a lot more than we can cover in this amount of time. And absolutely, food is a big source of inflammation. Sleep is really important. So when you get each of the patches, they come with their own little booklet that gives you indications of some suggested places where you can put them. You can put them anywhere, but these are where the tests have done. Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. So they're really easy to find, and it talks you through how to work through trying those and monitor your body's responses to see what works for you. That's absolutely fantastic. So very much, Jim Fizz, like it's working with the principles of epigenetics 100%. One final question, last call for last questions. Thank you so much for your interaction. You're all asking really great questions. Castor oil breaks up hard masses. Any indication that X39 would help with that?
Well, of course, castor oil does. I've seen great research on that as well, too. As far as when you look at lumps or masses in the body, we can't make any claims. Do we have people that have shared their personal testimony and experience of things in the body shrinking or dissolving? Yes, we have seen those. We actually have a Telegram channel that is private that has over 3,000 personal testimonials from people that are recorded and transcribed. And so we do have access to those to be able to share. I can think of many where they have used an Eon patch on location in lymph nodes, for example, that have been swollen. Or if you look at masses or lumps in the upper part of the body, where they've used the X39 for a few months to reduce or eliminate that. We've seen that on scans with lesions. I have a lady that was due to have a brain surgery and went in for that final MRI, and the doctor canceled the surgery. No explanation why. In her 80s, that mass had been growing for years, and it was time to remove it, and it was not there anymore. So we do have those cases. Of course, like I said, I can't make any claims, but I have spoke with people and heard people that have shared their testimonials with that.
And this is one of the points I want to make. Really great questions, everyone. Thank you. And thank you for your lovely comprehensive answers, Dr. Staci. But what we're really looking at doing is allowing the body to heal we're not even allowed to use the word heal. So allowing the body to rebalance in the way that the body needs to rebalance. And it's really empowering to me when you understand these tools, and there are many at your disposal, and you understand how they work, and then you use them and let the body do what it needs to do. So it's a very different approach, which I know everyone here I know everyone here understands the fact it's not a pill problem gone tomorrow approach. It's basically resetting, regenerating back to health in the time and the order that the body needs to. So Rachel's got an issue with painful neuropathy. Would that help with those symptoms?
Yeah, so I would use the X39 and the Eon, of course. Okay, this is your starting point. I would use Icewave. Icewave is a patch that opens up energy channels. And we know pain is stuck energy. And so when we use it on the bottoms of the feet, specifically that K1 acupuncture point, that helps with people that have pain in their feet to open that up. Also, and this is just from a Dr. Peavy, that's a chiropractor of 40 years in our organization. His practice is only with neuropathy patients. And so we can share that recording with you as well too. But he likes to use the Icewave as well at the low back point to break up that pathway that's causing the pain to go down. So bottoms of the feet, back, low back. And I say both because the Icewave has two patches. They actually have a white patch and a tan patch.
Oh, and similar to the energy enhancer.
Identical to energy enhancer in that the white is right and the tan goes on the left. So you can use two sets at the same time, one on the low back and one on the bottoms of the feet. And then you would use the X39 and Eon as well too.
I love that. I really love it. And again, this is something, because I work with a lot of holistic animal practitioners, and obviously people who have horses, there's a lot of problems with laminitis and things. And this is my next thing to actually try out, because what I love is how you explained that this is opening up the energy pathway, so releasing the trapped energy that can cause pain. So it's not masking, it's not, you know, putting a sticky plaster and masking it, is actually working that level, which is amazing. In terms of the Telegram channel, I will get the link for that from Dr. Staci, and I will share that with, if people are on my Catherine Edwards life, or if you look below the video on my Telegram channels, I've got a health Telegram channel. I'll share that Telegram channel link on there as well. So that's the best way to do that, or get in contact with me and I can share that with you privately. I love it. Any final words that you wanted to cover, Dr. Staci? This is so helpful. I always learn so much.
Well, thank you, Catherine. I appreciate you having me on here. And I think the big thing, I just want everybody to be open to something new. This may be the first time you've heard of this, and you're questioning and you're pondering, like, is this real? Is this really this simple and easy and effective and affordable? And it is. And we are happy to share with you all of the clinical studies all in one spot, and as well as the testimonials from people. And so know that it's making a big difference in millions and millions of people's lives across the globe. Yeah. We are in 81 countries. We do have 5 corporate offices and 12 distribution centers globally. So no matter where you're located, pretty much we can get this product to you and be able to help you have a better quality of life. We are only here for a short period of time, and we want to enjoy the time we do have with our family, our loved ones, our friends, and feel the best that we possibly can. And we know things happen. We understand accidents, surgeries, or maybe you just didn't know what you didn't know. And now you do, and you're looking for other solutions, and we do have those solutions.
Absolutely perfect. I'm on a journey of never-ending learning. I'm loving that journey. I'm loving just seeing what our bodies are capable when we listen to them and we give them the right, the right inputs. And we all have things where I look back now on some of the decisions I make and I think, what was I thinking? But we're resilient, and this is the point. And as when we know better, we do better. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you so much, Lucy and Harry. I completely agree. Healthy habits with a healthy attitude is a lifestyle. Yes. These Wellness Wednesdays, check back on the previous lives. All my videos have got a wealth of information on there, not singing my praises, from my amazing guests like Dr. Staci that come for free and share their valuable information. We are so grateful, and together we are going to bring back health and vitality to as many people and animals as we can, because when you feel better, you make better decisions, and you're just thoroughly nicer person to be around. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you.